Welcome back to the Mindset Advantage. I'm Jeffrey Wendel, and I'm excited to dive into today's topic with you. Today we're talking about something I'm deeply passionate about, creating a winning team culture. And I'm going to draw on two areas of my life that have taught me everything I know about this topic. My work as a baseball coach with the UC Indians baseball team, and my 33 years as a business mentor working with organizations of all sizes. Here's what I've learned. Whether you're coaching a youth baseball team or leading a Fortune 500 company, the principles of building a winning culture are exactly the same. It's about fostering an environment where people feel valued, motivated, and committed to something bigger than themselves. A winning team culture isn't about having the most talented people, though talent certainly helps. It's about creating an environment where everyone brings their best, supports each other, and is willing to run through the wall together when adversity hits. That's what we're going to explore today. Let's start with the basics. What exactly is team culture? Team culture is the shared values, beliefs, and behaviors that define how a team operates. It's the unwritten rules about how people treat each other, how they respond to challenges, how they celebrate success, and how they handle failure. It's the feeling you get when you walk into the locker room or the office. You can feel culture the moment you enter a space. Have you ever walked into an office where people seem energized, engaged, and genuinely happy to be there? That's a strong, positive culture. Or have you been in environments where people are going through the motions, where there's tension in the air, where everyone seems to be watching the clock? That's a weak or negative culture. The same is true on a sports team. Some teams have a culture where mistakes are met with blame and frustration. Other teams have a culture where mistakes are learning opportunities and teammates pick each other up. The difference isn't talent, it's culture. Here's the important thing to understand. Culture doesn't happen by accident. It's either intentionally created or it develops on its own. And when it develops on its own, it's rarely what you want. As a leader, whether you're a coach, a manager, or a CEO, you have to be intentional about the culture you're building. Based on my experience coaching the UC Indians and working with businesses, I've identified 3 pillars that every winning team culture must have. These are non-negotiable. Get these right, and everything else falls into place. Pillar 1, a supportive and inclusive environment where everyone feels valued. This is the foundation. Every person on your team needs to feel like they matter, like their contribution is important, like they belong. When people feel valued, they give their best. When they don't, they disengage. On my baseball team, we have a mission statement that guides everything we do. It says, UC Baseball is focused on player development, both mental and physical skills. We will bring with us an energetic, passionate, and competitive culture where everyone will have the opportunity to achieve goals higher than they ever dreamed. Notice what that says. Everyone will have the opportunity, not just the star players, not just the starters, everyone. Because when every player feels valued, when they know their role matters, the entire team elevates. The same principle applies in business. I've worked with companies where only the top performers get recognition and everyone else feels invisible. That creates resentment and kills motivation. But in organizations with strong cultures, every role is valued. The receptionist who creates the first impression, the operations person who keeps things running smoothly, the junior team member who brings fresh ideas. Everyone matters. Pillar 2, clear goals and shared purpose. A winning culture needs direction. Your team needs to know what they're working toward and why it matters. Without clear goals, people drift. With clear goals, people align. With my baseball team, our goals are clear. We're not just focused on winning games, though we certainly want to win. Our goals are about competing every game, playing hard, and having fun with your buddies. We want to achieve goals higher than we ever dreamed. That's our shared purpose, and it guides every decision we make. In business, it's the same. Your team needs to understand not just what they're doing, but why they're doing it. What's the mission? What's the vision? How does their work contribute to something meaningful? When people connect their daily tasks to a larger purpose, engagement skyrockets. Pillar 3, a culture that embraces mistakes as learning opportunities. This is huge. In a winning culture, mistakes aren't punished, they're expected. acknowledged, and used as opportunities to grow. Remember our "so what" next pitch philosophy from episode 2? That's a cultural statement. When a player makes an error on my team, the response from teammates isn't blame or frustration. It's "so what? Next pitch. Let's go." That creates psychological safety. It tells players that it's okay to take risks, to go for the big play, because even if they fail, they'll be supported. In business, this is critical for innovation. If your team is afraid to make mistakes, they'll never take risks. They'll play it safe, and you'll never get breakthrough ideas or performance. But if you create a culture where mistakes are learning opportunities, where people feel safe to experiment and fail, that's when magic happens. All right, I want you to do an exercise with me. Whether you're leading a team or you're part of one, I want you to assess your current team culture. Think about the team you're on right now. Could be a work team, a sports team, a volunteer organization, whatever. Got it? Good. Now I want you to rate your team on a scale of 1 to 10 for each of the 3 pillars we just discussed. First, does everyone on your team feel valued and included? Do people feel like they belong and their contributions matter? Give your team a score from 1 to 10. Second, does your team have clear goals and a shared purpose? Does everyone understand what you're working toward and why it matters? 1 to 10. Third, does your team embrace mistakes as learning opportunities? Is there psychological safety, or do people fear making errors? 1 to 10. Now look at your scores. Where are the gaps? Where is your team strong and where does it need work? That awareness is the first step to building a better culture. Let me give you 5 practical strategies you can implement immediately to build or strengthen your team culture. Strategy 1, define your culture explicitly. Don't leave culture to chance. Sit down with your team and define it together. What values do you want to embody? What behaviors do you expect? What kind of environment do you want to create? Write it down, make it visible, refer to it regularly. Strategy 2, model the culture you want. As a leader, you set the tone. If you want a culture of excellence, you have to demonstrate excellence. If you want a culture of support, you have to be supportive. If you want a culture that embraces mistakes, you have to acknowledge your own mistakes openly. Your team is watching you, and they'll follow your lead. I make it a point to model the behaviors I expect from my baseball team. If I want them to stay positive when things go wrong, I have to stay positive when things go wrong. If I want them to work hard, I have to work hard. Leadership is about example, not just words. Strategy 3, celebrate wins and effort, not just outcomes. Recognize people for their effort, their improvement, their attitude, not just for winning or hitting targets. This creates a culture where people feel valued for who they are and how they show up, not just for their results. Strategy 4, create rituals and traditions. Rituals build culture. It could be a pre-game routine, a weekly team meeting where you share wins, a tradition of celebrating birthdays, anything that brings the team together and reinforces your shared identity. These rituals create bonds and a sense of belonging. With my baseball team, we have rituals before every game. We do a presence exercise. We visualize success together. We remind each other of our goals and our commitment to each other. These rituals aren't just about preparation. They're about reinforcing our culture. Strategy 5, address culture violations immediately. If someone behaves in a way that's inconsistent with your culture, address it quickly and directly. If you let it slide, you're sending a message that the culture doesn't really matter. Protecting your culture is one of your most important jobs as a leader. I want to share why my experience coaching baseball has made me a better business mentor, and why my business experience has made me a better coach. On the baseball field, I see culture in action every single game. I see how a supportive culture helps players bounce back from errors. I see how clear goals keep players focused. I see how a team that embraces mistakes plays with more confidence and freedom. And then I take those lessons into the boardroom. I work with business leaders to create the same kind of culture in their organizations. A culture where people feel valued, where goals are clear, where mistakes are learning opportunities, where everyone is committed to running through the wall together. The principles are universal. Whether you're coaching 12-year-olds or leading a corporate team, human beings respond to the same things. We want to feel valued. We want to be part of something meaningful. We want to know that our teammates have our back. When you create that environment, people thrive. Let's recap what we've covered today. First, we defined team culture as the shared values, beliefs, and behaviors that define how a team operates. Culture doesn't happen by accident. It must be intentionally created. Second, we explored the 3 pillars of winning team culture: a supportive and inclusive environment where everyone feels valued, clear goals and shared purpose, and a culture that embraces mistakes as learning opportunities. Third, we did a team culture assessment where you rated your current team on each of the 3 pillars. Fourth, I gave you 5 practical strategies. Define your culture explicitly. Model the culture you want. Celebrate wins and effort. Create rituals and traditions. And address culture violations immediately. And finally, we talked about how the principles of building culture are universal, whether you're on the baseball field or in the boardroom. Here's my challenge for you this week. If you're a leader, have a conversation with your team about culture. Ask them what they value, what kind of environment they want to work in, and what they need from you as a leader. And if you're a team member, think about how you can contribute to building a stronger culture through your own actions and attitude. And if you're a business leader who wants to transform your organizational culture, I invite you to learn more about my Change Your Mind, Change Your Life seminars at jeffreywendel.com. We work together to build cultures of excellence, resilience, and peak performance. Thank you for joining me for episode 7 of The Mindset Advantage. I hope this episode has given you practical tools to build or strengthen the culture of your team. Next week, we're going to talk about leadership that inspires. We'll explore how to empower your team to achieve the impossible and what it really means to lead with purpose and authenticity. Until then, remember, culture is everything. Build it intentionally, protect it fiercely, and watch your team thrive. Change your mind, and you will change your life.